Hello YouTube, how's it going? This is the crossover and I'm back with another video. Today I'm just going to be giving my thoughts on how the Knicks did in the 2021 NBA draft. As promised, if you guys can't tell, I'm a huge Knicks fan as I got, my Patrick Ewing jersey on. But as of the making this video, it's right around the middle of the second round, and I'm pretty sure, the Knicks aren't going to be making any more moves. So I thought it would be a good time to sit down, give my initial thoughts. We could start off with the 19th pick, which we traded to the Charlotte Hornets in exchange for their first round pick next year. I'm pretty indifferent to the move. I get the logic behind it on the Knicks side. You get a future asset. I'm assuming that there was nobody at 19 that they were really in love with, or based on the people that they selected with their later picks, those are probably their guys, and they figured that they could get them, later on in the draft without having to take them at 19, and they could get more assets, and at 21 as well. So I understand the logic behind getting another, first round pick from Charlotte next year, but given that Charlotte drafted James Bouknight at 11, who I think is the fourth best player in this draft, could come in from day one and be a starter for them. And Kai Jones with our pick that we traded to them, which fills a position of need, being one of the best centers in this draft class. And you assume LaMelo Ball takes that next step as their franchise player. And if Gordon Hayward stays healthy, you got to keep in mind Gordon Hayward wasn't even healthy this year. He missed a good amount of time with I believe it was a hand or a foot issue. I'm not too sure off the top of my head. But he was a guy who was averaging 25 and 5 for them on good shooting splits. And again, assume LaMelo Ball takes that next step as their franchise player. With the addition to the draft, we haven't even entered free agency next year, and I'm expecting Charlotte to at least be in the play-in tournament at the very least. I could easily see them getting the 7th, 8th, 6th seed, 5th seed even if it hits. And when you take into account that next year's draft class is nowhere near as strong as this year's draft class, I'm definitely indifferent to the move, but I understand the rationale of getting a future first round pick, a potential, late playoff, late lottery first round pick. Yeah. But I understand the logic behind that. You use it in a trade for a star. I'm assuming, in another year or two. But again, I'm kind of indifferent, and then I would have preferred that we just stayed at 19 and taking the best player available, whoever the Knicks thought that would have been, whoever they would have had at the top of their board at the time. But moving on to the 21st pick, which we took Keon Johnson and traded to the Clippers in exchange for Quentin Grimes and their 25th pick. With their 25th pick, who they used to select Quentin Grimes. If you guys know me and you watch my big board, you know that I absolutely love Quentin Grimes. I had him top 10 in my board. I think he's that good. I think he's that level of a player. I think he's going to come in for us day one and be a two-way 3-and-D player with upside to be a shot creator for us, right? We needed more perimeter defense, and we went ahead and added that. Quentin Grimes, even though he didn't test all that well athletically, he is 6'5", 6'6", very strong frame. Just got a lot of muscle on his body. Great on-ball defender. In my opinion, one of the best on-ball defenders in the draft. He's going to be a positive impact defender from day one. And what's really so intriguing about Quentin Grimes is his shooting. Both on and off the ball. I think there's a real possibility for Quentin Grimes to start at the 2 position for us next year, and he's not only going to offer catch and shoot space for RJ and Randall, but as well as his ability to create on the ball. He displayed that not only in college, but if you guys also watched his draft combine, which, for my Knicks fans, I encourage you to go do so. He dominated their, shooting on the ball. And that was not only against college competition, but the best of college competition, right? Guys that were entering the NBA draft, his peers. His peers in terms of, that level of talent, right? So I think it's a great pick for us at 25, great value. I think he's going to come in from day one and could potentially be a starter at the 2. You might even slide RJ down to 3. Quentin Grimes could start at the 2. At the very least, he's going to be a 3-and-D role player, and I think there's upside for him to be an on-ball creator for us. So great value at 25. Excuse me. And then with our 32nd pick, we traded it to the Oklahoma City Thunder in exchange for their 34th pick and their 36th pick. And with our 34th pick, we took Rokas Jokubaitis. I know I just butchered his last name, but I've watched a little bit of film on him, not all that much. admittedly. But from what I have seen of him, I believe he's about a 6'4" guard. Uh, not all that strong, but a really good playmaker and a solid shooter. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Luka Vildoza, the guard that we just signed from overseas. He seems like he seems like he's going to be a good playmaker for us. I'm not sure how much playing time he's going to be. I'm not sure if he's a draft and stash. I definitely need to look into that. But and for in the first value. First initial thoughts of him, I think that it's a decent pick. I'm not sure again how much playing time he is going to get, but from what I have watched of him, he's a good sized point guard with great playmaking instincts. So if he does come over, depending on what happens with our point guard position, because I'm not sure, because he kind of plays a little similar to, again, Luka Vildoza, and we already have him on the roster, and with our 36th pick we took Miles McBride, and none of those guys are really like NBA caliber starters, so I'd imagine that they still go out there and get another point guard. Maybe Rokas is a draft and stash. Who knows how much playing time he's actually going to be, so the jury's still out on that pick. Not going to talk too much about it. But then moving on to Miles McBride, I absolutely love this pick. I had him top 20 on my board. I actually liked him a lot more than a player who he gets compared to a lot to, Davion Mitchell. I think he's a bigger, stronger version of Davion Mitchell, a little bit slower and 2-3 years younger. Miles McBride, I think his most attractive skill is his defensive upside, both on and off the ball. On ball, he gave pretty much every creator in this draft, perimeter guard, perimeter scorer in this draft, trouble at some point. And there was when he played for West Virginia, and when they played Oklahoma State, he gave Cade Cunningham trouble. He's an awesome defender, and I expect him to be. He's a dog. I expect him to come into him day one and probably win that backup point guard spot. And at that 6'4" size, he's only 20 years old. And offensively, he's a good scorer, good playmaker. He could come in and run the offense. I'm not expecting him to get too many touches offensively. I still expect, the offense to run through a player like Randall or RJ. Even when he is on the floor, I expect him, set up the offense, but not much else outside of that. He has solid athleticism, but he's not all that quick. He kind of lacks some speed. But I really love the pick. I had him valued top 20 amongst the top 20 prospects in this class. I like him a lot better than Davion Mitchell, and to get him at 36, that's great value. We get another option defensively on the perimeter with him, as well as another point guard option, and a guy who's going to be able to hit open threes, is going to be able to do a little bit of playmaking, run our offense a little bit, and it has some sneaky athleticism. He's a big, powerful athlete, but he's not all that quick, so that's why I say sneaky athleticism. But again, we entered the draft with the 19th pick, 21st pick, and a second round pick, and I still believe we have the 58th pick. So I'm not going to talk about the 58th pick because it's really the 58th pick. But again, those were the value picks for us, right? 19, 21, and 32, and we ended up with a future first round pick next year, probably a middle of the pack first round pick. We ended up with Quentin Grimes, a guy who's going to come in for us day one and be a two-way guard for us, who has potential. Quentin Grimes could come in from day one and give us 12, 13, 14 points. I could definitely see that happening, which is great value, especially at 25. We ended up with a draft and stash most likely in Rokas, who, if he does come over, a 6'4" playmaking guard, who's very flashy, very smart player. And then we ended up with one of the best two-way guards in the draft in Miles McBride, an awesome defender, one of the best perimeter defenders in the draft, who's a solid offensive player. That's awesome value. Awesome value. We got much better defensively on the perimeter. And we added experience. We added, nobody really all that raw, right? Right, Quentin Grimes has taken the time to develop. Miles McBride got better from his freshman year to sophomore year in West Virginia. So we had seasoned college players, right? We got much better defensively on the perimeter, as well as we got much better as a shooter. You can make an argument that Quentin Grimes is going to come in from day one, assuming Reggie Bullock doesn't resign, and be the best shooter on the team. And Miles McBride is also a very good shooter. So we added awesome perimeter defenders. We added another first-round pick next year. and we added one good shooter, one solid shooter, and another great shooter with potential to be one of the main offensive creators on this team outside of Randall and RJ. So great value for the Knicks. But again, I am a bit upset that we did not get that starting caliber level point guard, right? I think Miles McBride is going to be a great role player, but I don't know if he's going to be able to come in from day one and start at the NBA level. So I do feel like we do need that starting level NBA point guard, that offensive engine. And I am a bit upset that we did not get Trey Mann. He's really who I wanted for us, but I can't complain with this outcome. And I'm still expecting us to go after like a Kyle Lowry or Mike Conley in free agency. But, just based off this draft, we did get better. Again, with that first round pick, Quentin Grimes being that two-way guard, going to be able to shoot the ball efficiently, defend at a high level, might even be able to create for himself. I'm expecting him to be able to create for himself. Starting off in the NBA, Rokas is a draft and stash, and then Miles McBride is going to be a hell of a defender for us and a guy who can set up our offense, run our offense, score a little bit. Not sure how much playing time he's gonna get again at the beginning of his NBA career, but again, I still do feel like we need that star NBA point guard to really take us to the next level. I don't think we really added that in this draft, but we definitely got great value. I still do think that our biggest hole on this team is definitely with that point guard position, and I'm expecting us to go after like a Kyle Lowry in free agency. But all in all, I would definitely the draft is still not finished yet, but I would definitely give us an A- so far. The only reason I didn't give us like an A+ or anything like that is just because we didn't get like that high level point guard. But again, Miles McBride, first round pick, Quentin Grimes, and Rokas, it's great value. And I'm so happy that this front office is smart. They had their guys in mind and they traded back, getting assets. They didn't take their guys so high, right? They traded back to get future assets and still got they still got the guys they wanted. So great draft. I give it an A-. I'm super happy that Quentin Grimes is a Knick. Miles McBride as well. He's going to be a dog fit right in New York. And I'm really excited for next season already for the Knicks. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I plan on grading the rest of the draft, giving each team a grade. That video should be up sometime around Sunday, Monday. I'll try to work on it, tomorrow and Saturday as well. But these are my thoughts, on the Knicks draft. It's pretty late already, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. Hope you guys enjoyed, listening to me talk about the Knicks draft. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Please take care. Have a good night and stay safe, everybody. Peace.